This is Mona Lisa Baseball.
World Series baseball.
I was able to watch a good chunk of all 5 games. And so I was just really excited to watch the World Series and have it be Dodgers, Yankees and all that. Just being in season 4, it felt like an exciting time to check in with baseball, baseball's relationship with hardball.
I also watched several innings of this recent World Series.
Several innings, excellent.
Yeah, similar to last year and the year before.
Okay, similar. Now, when we talked, you had said you weren't necessarily excited about it because it was...
Because I hate both of those teams. Yeah.
Dodgers, Yankees, exactly. But as it got even closer, did you get a little rise maybe? Like,
well, was it ever close?
Little tingles?
I think the Dodgers kind of smashed them.
Okay, so...
It was never really close.
Then I guess I must ask, were you able to see the conclusion of Game 1?
The extra inning, Freddie Freeman first home run and then he hit one in every game after that.
Right.
Up until Game 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What a game.
Before the series started, everyone was really, really excited that this great baseball experiment of the last few years proved to have worked. And the Dodgers and the Yankees were playing. Look at what we've done here. Baseball has never been so healthy.
The numbers are up.
Look at what we got.
Yep.
Numbers are up. Rob's saying we got the sweet spot of the playoffs. Like, the proof was in the pudding. Proof was in the pudding according to them at that moment. Like, no one can say shit to us because it's obviously working. So that's kind of the vibe I was picking up on.
Oh, I'm here to talk shit.
Awesome. And then so Game 1 happens. I crawl upstairs, got the rabbit ears, comes in perfectly clear. Don't have to pay a dime for it. Gotta love it.
Nice.
Gotta love those rabbit ears.
Radio wave.
And Sam agreed to come watch the game with me and then got to see the grand slam. And so kudos to Freddie Freeman for not putting it in the first row, but putting it like 15, 20 rows back.
Future Hall of Famer, Freddie Freeman.
It's so rad to end a game with a ball that's not close to the fence. Great bat drop, I guess you could say. If you ever had earned the coolest, egregious bat flop, that would have been the moment. And it was pretty fucking tasteful under the circumstances.
He's a baller. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
I was pretty stoked on it. But I had this feeling when the fans were going that wild, I was thinking, holy shit, they are celebrating as fat as the Kirk Gibson homer. Baseball is healthy at this moment, ludicrously. I had that feeling of this is hardball, but it's going really well. So is that good or bad? And I got to spend some time with that. And then Game 2 happens, and it's down to the very last pitch. Off the bat for the Yankees with the bases loaded. Off the bat, I thought grand slam was my first thought, which would have put the Yankees ahead. So the first 2 games were just as good as they can go. Okay, so now that I've said those things, I want to know what the ratings for Game 1 and the ratings for Game 2 are, because the table was set. And then Freddie did perhaps the most enticing thing one could ever do to get you to watch Game 2. So I want to know some numbers.
Game 1 was 14.4 million and Game 2 was 15.9.
So a tiny upclick from 1 to 2. Okay. So last year's numbers, I remember, were historically low. I believe those were around 7 or 9 million.
That's right. I have the cumulative numbers for the whole series by year.
Okay.
So you're going to love this. I'm going to piss you off on purpose.
Good. I think that's part of your job.
The numbers this year are back to 2018 levels.
2018 levels. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's recovering.
It's pretty peanuts in terms of the recovery.
Yeah. I mean, look, we've got a long ways to go here.
Yeah.
It's a good number for Rob. You know, they're patting themselves on the back and it feels good.
Yeah, but that was best case scenario. And it's not like it went down to Game 6, Game 7.
Well, best case scenario is you get back to 2016 levels. That's when you had
Get out of here.
Cubs Guardians.
Yeah.
Right? Shouldn't Yankees Dodgers be more popular than Cubs Guardians? Granted, Cubs Guardians is awesome, but
2 humongous markets. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
The biggest.
get to that height.
Okay. Okay.
We're lagging back.
Yeah. So the fact that they've crowned themselves, it's barely warranted for some crowning of yourself, but let's not get carried away that baseball's back compared to the levels that they've self-promoted it to be back.
Well, I mean, we're comparing everything to last year, right? What was last year's World Series?
Okay, it was dome versus dome, I remember. So it was Texas versus...
Dude, it was Rangers Diamondbacks.
Oh, Diamondbacks. Yeah.
Nobody cares.
It's rough.
It was bad. So, yeah, that was the worst World Series rating of all time.
Wasn't it around 7 or 9 million?
It was at 9 million. Right?
Okay, so to go from 9 million to 14 or 15 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of champagne.
Yeah, I understand math. It's an improvement, but it's not,
No, it's not that impressive. That's why I'm comparing it to 2016 when the Cubs played the Guardians.
Were they actually the Guardians yet, or were they still the Indians?
In 2016?
We can't call them the Guardians. That would be incorrect.
They changed their name in 2021, so it was the Cleveland Indians. Thank you for helping me fix that.
Now we're on the up and up. Okay, so
let's talk about the greatest World Series ratings of all time.
I think I know
it. was in 1978.
1978, Yankees Dodgers.
1978, Yankees Dodgers.
All right. Okay, so this is a pretty damn good time to compare.
Right.
Excellent time.
The 75th ever World Series. It was the best of 7. You had the Yankees, you had the Dodgers, New York versus Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And they hadn't faced each other until this year.
Right.
So it had been that long since 78. And that was, in 78, the highest rated World Series of all time on television.
Okay. I didn't know this.
And let me tell you this. There's more people in the United States. There's more baseball fans now than there was in 78.
Theoretically, yes.
They couldn't even get a third of that this year.
Wait, are you telling me we're not back to 1978 levels?
Everyone's like, this number this year is great. Yeah, it's great, but let's put it in perspective.
In
1978.
Okay. So give it to me straight. What's the number?
32% of that. So in 78, total ratings were 44 million. This last year, it was, like I said, 14.
Okay. That's a really good comparison. We're getting a pulse of where things are at a little. And it seems reasonable to say baseball, no, we weren't around, but it seems reasonable to say baseball is about a third as popular as it used to be.
But when it comes to Yankees Dodgers playing in the World Series,
it's a good way to take down variables.
For sure.
To eliminate other variables where, a lot's changed, but you get to compare something that's kind of unique for a temperature gauge.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was able to watch all 5 games, so I got a little bit from each game. So that I don't like the box. That I don't like the highlighter of the ball, like where it went through the zone. I just want to watch the ball game. I don't need a computer telling me what happened. I just want to watch the ball game. I don't need assistance. And I was watching the way some pitches came in, and it piqued my curiosity. There was a pitch that was on the highest, most corner part of the plate, and it was a fastball. This does not look like a strike. It looks high and outside.
Right.
But the box says it's in the zone.
Does it hit the back end of it? Yeah.
It hit the tippy top corner. And the umpire called it a strike with such casualness that it caught my attention, where I thought, okay, this is what the box has created. There is no leniency with the strike zone in terms of, is it an inch or 2 outside? I'm sure many people say, hey, it's either over the plate or it's not. And I get that. But I kind of like a somewhat fluctuating, just if a ball is a strike, sometimes it doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, have to have hit the plate, just because baseball kind of naturally evolved that way, where it is up to the umpire. And so I've never seen the corners called less. Does that have anything to do with Hawkeye, with them calling the game today, or have they been shown so much video? And what umpire wants to have a YouTube video about them saying they made 27 incorrect calls?
None of them.
And it's going to always be on the corners.
I mean, I've talked a lot about how they're getting better.
The corners are out of baseball. And I think what that does is it encourages more walks.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone in baseball that's looking for popularity wants to encourage more walks.
Tighter strike zone, I think is what you're saying, right?
I guess you could call it tighter, but there's also more high strikes called than I was used to from, say, further back time. And high strikes suit the box in a different way that used to suit the umpire's strike zone range. But here we are in the last inning, right? 10th inning. And Freddie hits the walk-off. In that moment, I knew the Dodgers had won the game because there were people on base. They were only down by a run, but I didn't realize it was a grand slam. And then people started talking about its grand slam. And I thought, wait a minute, I thought I only saw X amount of batters and that one guy had grounded out. And wait, how did they load the bases? Well, how I got tricked was I was watching the game with my wife, and it was, it wasn't on mute or anything, but we were kind of talking and watching the game at the same time. And I don't know the Dodgers lineup where I know where each guy is. And so what had happened was Mookie got intentionally walked
instantly,
but it was instant.
You missed it.
And so I had missed a whole batter. And because I wasn't hanging on every word of the announcer, I didn't know what had happened.
Yeah.
And the little light in the corner that shows what people are on base isn't that huge. So I hadn't noticed it yet because I believe he hit the first pitch out. So it was one more reason to kind of say, I don't know, that would have been a pretty exciting time with a home crowd to have to intentionally walk Mookie Betts to get to Freddie Freeman. That would have included drama in the broadcast, like in the ballpark. I think everyone would have liked that. So I thought that was worthy of something.
We missed out.
Game 2, I already had said something about, hey, down to the final pitch. So the first 2 games, down to the final pitch. Got to love that. Okay, so game 3, there gets a real interesting wrinkle. So there was a play at the plate. It was really close, and they went to a replay. The Dodgers were batting. Yankees were on defense. Okay, replay's happening. Is he out? Is he safe? Well, they showed Dave Roberts yelling, and he's kind of yelling at the umpire crew and saying something as they're watching the replay. And then they slow down, if I remember this right, they slow down so that you can read his lips. And what Dave Roberts is yelling to the umpire crew is, he's blocking the plate.
Right.
And I think about that and I go, it's so pathetic now that our replay isn't even challenging the action on the field. It's challenging a new rule of how one blocks the plate. So isn't it a little more fun for a manager to, I don't know, come out and talk to the umpire and say, my guy was safe. He was safe. Everyone saw it right there. Or is it, he was blocking the plate in an unfair way?
His foot was over the line.
Right. And just ask yourself, is that what you want? Is that where you want your sport going?
Well, we've asked this question. I think the answer is no.
He's blocking the plate. Let me tell you, it is a catcher doing exactly what a catcher's done for decades. Catching the ball, protecting the plate. He can't get plowed. It's just not baseball. Now, what was also cool about it was every angle made it appear that he was safe, but there was nothing in that range of conclusivity where you couldn't see the fingers touch the white spot. They went to all different angles, and Smoltz is going right there, that's the one. But it wasn't really conclusive, and they did not overturn it because they didn't have that look of the fingers on the white. So it highlighted so well of little small things that might turn the sport a way you might not want. Definitely saw some 3-batter minimums as it was getting late into the game and I was watching it, the pitching changes. Knowing that your pitcher has to go 3. So the manager isn't able to maneuver their way through these dangerous lineups with their full arsenal. They're stuck with this 3-batter minimum.
It speeds up the game.
It speeds up the game and it's affecting the game. So I didn't like that. And then just to say straight up, a pitch clock in the 9th inning is just fucking brutal. Just brutal. So again, just want to float that out there that wouldn't it be nice to have the World Series?
Just suspend it.
The regular rules?
For the whole World Series, though.
Just the World Series. It's
just like suspend it. All of the new rules.
I'll swallow that pill.
Yeah.
I'll swallow the pill for the rest of the year, for the rest of the playoffs.
I would have watched more innings.
Yeah. I mean, is that the worst thing in playoff baseball to have long telecasts? Especially if the drama's building?
No.
Might want to ask yourself that.
If there's a game 7, you want it to play out to like 99 innings if you're MLB. It would be the most amazing, most watched World Series of all time.
Can you believe it, of all time?
So,
okay, now we get to the part I've been really salivating over. This is the game 4. This is where the guys in the stands get involved, and it reminded me what a perfect time to check in. Check in with A2 about everything there. So,
God.
Can I take you back to season 1 for a moment?
Let's go all the way back to season 1, you guys.
Okay, so yes, here we are.
Season 1.
So I must remind you, love the home field advantage. And this is what I've been pitching. Okay, the jabronis, the New York fan jabronis, grabbed a player, pulled a ball out. That's not what I'm talking about. But it reminds me of what I do want to be talking about, the true home field advantage. I would have loved it if those two guys could have tried to catch the ball,
Yeah.
just like Mookie was. And that would be a live ball, no matter who touches what. Because it's one of those really, really rare plays where the fans and the players are kind of trying to do the same thing at the same time. They're both involved in this play that's going on of baseball. And so same thing on a ball that's barely clearing the fence. I feel like a home field team, maybe you can do the Jeffrey Mayer reach over the fence and pull it in. Like that's part of the home crowd. Now, grabbing a player and stealing a ball, it's a very different thing. But I wanted to reopen this back up and see if you've moved maybe an inch on the idea that fans can interact in the game, because if you hit a bomb like Freddie Freeman, no one can block that. It's going in. But when it's right on the line, first row, I don't know. What do you think?
So I'm going to judge each one of these interactions like individually. I'm not going to make any generalizations. I saw this interaction.
Yes.
And the fan was out of line.
Don't do it.
And his friend was out of line.
Yes.
And they got kicked out of the game.
Yes.
I understand
Okay.
they're season
Agreed.
ticket holders, and I understand that they think they're tough shit because they're probably going to like put up nets there now or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just encourages them to put up more nets, put up a force field, put up a fucking taser that zaps you if you try to catch a ball that's in play. I don't know. But yeah, these guys suck. They crossed the line for sure.
What do you think of my suggestion of the home field advantage?
I don't know what's the question.
Okay, so the question. Okay, if you are a fan that's sitting in the front row, nets or no nets, you're not allowed to reach over into the field and affect the ball, correct?
Well,
What I'm proposing
I
is
think
that
if it's borderline and you make the catch up high above the outfielder and he's the away team, that's great.
okay.
I think if you're leaning over, reaching way over into fair territory, then like you suck.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And if you're trying to steal a ball out of
So
a
you don't
fucking
like it.
glove, out of a pro player's hand, that's even worse.
We agree that the play in Game 4 was bunk. Okay, there's no part of me that thinks fans ought to be doing that. What I'm saying is, if baseball were to open it up to the fans, and that some parks have seats right on the front row, like where the Steve Bartman thing happened. It's not like they have a glove that can reach deep onto the field. They can barely affect the outcome of a game. However, if it just so happens that they can kind of eschew a home team ball over the fence because fate just made the ball go there at that moment, to me, it brings the fans into the game at a level that they're not allowed to participate right now.
You're saying that you want more fan participation.
If they are trying to catch the ball, yes.
You're cool with it.
Yes. I think it would make the game more exciting. I do.
Okay. Yeah, I take each thing individually. I think sometimes it's great, but other times I think it's not.
One of my great goals is to be able to sway you on certain things, because
Oh yeah, me too.
there's a lot of things that we feel very similar on. But it's just as fun talking to you because there's some things we definitely feel different about baseball-wise. So I'm always going to try to sway you. Yeah, I mean, I guess seeing that play reminded me of my version of fan participation.
You're right.
So that's the main thing I brought up. And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention was the Game 5 when the pitcher didn't cover first base.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about fundamentals.
Yeah, fundamental me.
Well, I mean, oh, you think the fundamentals don't matter?
Mm-hmm.
This is my message to the Yankees. Oh, you think just
Loud and clear.
hitting doubles is the only thing that matters? Well, or throwing 100? Well, guess what? You guys got outplayed.
Mm-hmm.
I saw more errors, more running errors, like guys just not even hustling to score a run in a close game. Like it was,
Ooh, that was a bad
the
one.
Yankees were ugly, man. They were ugly. And the Dodgers have every right to rub this one in their face because Yankees can't play baseball. Dodgers out baseballed them. They played better baseball or hardball, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. One thing that was really cool was that the clock never got involved. The only time I was really thinking about the pitch clock was one of the announcers had mentioned how long the fifth inning was going and how Garrett Cole had to be working pretty fast wasn't really able to slow it down at all. And so I thought it was fortunate.
He fucked up. It's okay to make mistakes. But yeah, he made a mistake. He should have
Well,
ran first. And then they got 5 unearned runs after that.
I know. Yeah, you got to love that after that play, Freddie Freeman was next.
Of course, yeah. MVP.
Eked out a single to center.
Coming up.
It was great. Yeah, it was great. So, well,
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you're sitting like on the line, you've brought your normal sized glove and there's a fly ball coming, it's going to be a home run. It's questionable whether it's going to be a home run. You're there. How far over, how far out how far do you go to try to get that ball as a fan?
Yeah, okay. So this is my home team hit the ball.
Okay, let's put it this way. You're that guy in New York. Mookie Betts is jumping up like you're the guy.
Right.
What do you do?
I would reach out and try to catch the ball so that Mookie didn't.
Okay.
Because that's what the team needed.
Good. Great. Now, let's put it this. You did reach out, or you were late to reach out. He caught the ball. Do you try to pry the ball out of his glove?
Hell no.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, you can't get it twisted. The fan interaction, it's like you can call them both fan interaction, but I may be into one. That doesn't mean I'm into the other. To get to see that play in slow motion, I hadn't tuned in early enough to have seen it. So I first learned of the play on Sports Talk the next morning. It was getting talked about exhaustively.
Oh, yeah.
But it was pretty great. So after work, I went home and finally got to see it. And the replay was every bit as good or bad as, depending on what word you want to use. It was every bit I was in amazement watching what the two guys had done. And yeah, I found it funny, but it was okay. The other thing maybe worth mentioning is one of these shows had a caller from New York and was talking the same way about, hey, these are jabronis, but I'm a Yankees fan. And he goes, let me tell you something about these guys, though. And it was the full New York accent. Let me tell you something about these guys. They're the first ones to pull over if you got a flat tire on the side of the road.
Are you sure about that?
And there was another New Yorker
he knows them
in the booth that was going, yep, yeah. They were adamantly for that. So I thought that was a...
I bet if you got California plates, they're not going to help you.
Yeah, right. Hell no. Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay, just checking. Oh, man.
So yeah, it happened.
Yankees big market. Yeah,
it came and went.
They got their increase. They got their $14 million.
They wanted more.
Of course.
I was thinking it might get into that 25 range. Just didn't.
Well, not like Cubs Guardians. Cubs
okay,
Indians.
Well, Indians. Baseball's back.
Oh, I'm here to talk shit.
I just want to watch the ball game. I don't need assistance.
Got outplayed.
It's not baseball.
He fucked up.
Oh, wait. Are you telling me we're not back to 1978 levels?